Hello, welcome, folks. Thank you for coming back to my kitchen, surrounded by my plants. We got plants. I have chocolate here. I've got a whole setup you can't see, but right behind the computer, I've got all of my snacks. And on the other side of my computer, we've got the amazing Leah Culver, who is the founder and CEO of Breaker and also one of the newest owners of one of the Painted Ladies. So today we're going to talk about what it's like to own a painted lady and her plans for the painted lady. And we're not going to talk about coronavirus, which I'm so excited about, I have to say. But before we get into Leah and the conversation, I just want to welcome you all to Manny's Super Civic Cyber Conversations. This is our way of continuing to do our work of civically engaging the public in a time of need. So Manny's is a civic gathering space. We're moving our shit online. We're doing tons of these talks, and we'd love for your support. There's a link in the chat box to support us and become a monthly sponsor. We need your help, sisters and brothers, in everything, in any way you identify. We need you. And so here we are. We're going to talk to Leah about this. Leah, welcome to the Manny's Live moment. But one last thing, if you guys have questions for Leah, you can start typing those questions right into the Q&A box. Questions can be written now, so don't hold back. And also, if everyone's here doesn't mind raising their hand, there's a little hand raise button on the bottom of your screens. I want to see who's here. So if you don't mind raising your hand and pressing the hand raise button, I would love to see who's here. Amazing. Operator, is that working?
It is. There's 32 waves. Hello,
okay.
everyone.
Okay, Leah, so where are you right now?
So I am actually in the Painted Lady. This is up on the second floor. So this is kind of, I don't know if you call it the master bedroom area, but this is the window you can sort of see from Alamo Square.
Oh my God. So many of us have seen the house from Alamo Square, but how often have you been able to see Alamo Square from one of the houses? That's pretty cool.
It's so weird. There's all these people like taking photos and looking in, and you can look out at them. It's really funny.
So I guess the first question is like the most obvious, which is like, why did you do it? Like, why did you buy a painted? Like, why did you choose to buy a painted lady and live there?
Yeah, so I had been looking to buy sort of my first home in San Francisco. I lived in an apartment building on Dolores Park for 10 years, right on the park. And when I was looking for a house, what was that?
Which side of the park?
I lived up on the south side, so up the hill on 20th and Dolores, and that there's like a big apartment building there.
Okay.
So I lived in like this tiny apartment in this big apartment building, but I lived there for 10 years, and I wanted to live in a home that was very San Francisco. I was like, I'm so used to the park, like I love the energy there, like I love all things San Francisco, like wherever I live, I want to be just very San Francisco. And so I was talking to my real estate agent. I was like, I want to live somewhere like one of the Painted Ladies or like on Lombard Street or something, something where, I feel like you feel the vibe of the city. Like not these houses are not for everyone. Like the tourism factor isn't for everybody, but I really sought that out because I kind of miss it.
Why did you want to live in a very, very San Francisco house? Where was that coming from, that feeling?
Well, I moved here because I fell in love with these houses. So I came out to interview for a software engineering job here, obviously, about 15 years ago. And just walking around the city, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. These houses are just amazing. And I just fell in love with them.
Yeah.
So it's been a dream of mine to own one.
And do you remember when you first walked into this painted lady and what your first feeling was?
So it came on the market and I knew I had to see it. And I sort of wanted to hate it. I was like, I really hope that I don't like it.
Why?
But I don't know. It's like, it's a big, I knew that it was a fixer-upper from the photos online. And that it's like a project. And I, kind of wanted to live in a completed, finished home. So that's why I wanted to not like it. But I came in and it's just amazing. Like all the sort of historical details, like the views from here are amazing. So you have Alamo Square out the front, and then out the back is City Hall, and like downtown, and you can see all the way to Salesforce Tower, everything back there.
Is there a backyard or is there no backyard?
small. There's like a tiny little backyard,
What do you think
but a lot of decks.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about the Painted Ladies now that you live in one?
They're not a historical landmark.
They're not a
I think
historical landmark.
they're not a national historic landmark. They're not a San Francisco historic landmark. They are part of the Alamo. Yeah, they're part of the Alamo Square Historic District in the way that Liberty Hill has a historic district. So each of these neighborhoods has certain homes they're trying to preserve the facade, but there's no real regulations on sort of the interior of the homes. They're private homes.
Do you think they should be historical landmarks?
That's a great question. So I've been sort of looking into it, and historical landmarks are kind of under the Trump administration not really happening right now. Okay. So it's one of those things where it's like Trump cuts a whole department.
Now, what about all the people?
So I don't.
What about all the people standing outside your home taking pictures of you or pictures of your home? Does that worry you? Are you like nervous about your privacy? Like, what if you like want to, you know, not have a ton of people outside your house? Like, how are you thinking about that?
I think that's like a consideration for anybody when buying a home is location and where it's at. Like I mentioned, I was kind of used to the crowds being outside every day for the past 10 years. So I like it.
You're in Dolores Park.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly quiet when you're inside too. So coming inside is actually very quiet and very private.
Okay, and for the folks who are listening in, we're going to get to your questions in about a little less than 10 minutes. So feel free to keep writing them in, and we're going to get to them. And I think we'll have time for all of them. And thank you so much, Leah, for taking time out of your day. So where are you in the process of renovating? This is the pink house. Wait, so you're at Alamo Square, and you're looking at the Painted Ladies. Which Painted Lady is it? Is it one all the way on the left, in the middle, or on the right? Sure.
So this one's 714 Steiner. It is the third from the right. So there's 6 houses, and that's the third from the right. There is also a house, a 7th house on the end that's considered part of the Painted Ladies, but it's not identical. And it's actually where the builder lived when he created the home. So they're all built in 1890s by Matthew Kavanaugh, who's the architect of the homes, and he lived in 720 Steiner.
Now,
722.
I was in Alamo Square Park this morning, actually exercising with social distance, I would say. And there are so many really beautiful homes all around Alamo Square Park. There's that like crazy Victorian on the far corner that's all like dark forest green. And actually the other side of the park has, directly opposite of your side, has so many amazing houses as well. Why do you think the Painted Ladies are so famous? Is it just because of Full House, or do you think there's another reason?
So actually, they became famous in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't famous before then. And there's actually several sets of Painted Ladies in San Francisco. So there are ones on Haight Street. There's ones, the season Victorians, like the winter, summer, spring. I think those are, I'm forgetting the name of the street that they're on, but they're also up in the Haight area.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ones of kind of these identical houses that all kind of have like, were painted bright. So they started being painted bright colors in the 60s and 70s, which is what brought all the attention. Before they were just kind of like normal.
What made the Painted Ladies that you are living in famous in the 70s? Did something happen, or?
Oh my gosh, I would have to look this up on Wikipedia. Someone wrote some.
Okay, but like the hordes of people standing outside and taking pictures all the time, that's because of Full House, would you say?
I would guess so. I think it's very much a millennial thing to be like, to have watched. I watched Full House as a kid.
I did
what's funny is it's not actually the Full House. They're just in the opening credits. The actual Full House, the exterior of the house, is over in Lower Pack Heights.
Okay. I see you're still working on
You have a question for me?
I just feel like maybe you're still working on your Wi-Fi signal in Painted Ladies.
Oh, so I'm on a cellular signal. There's no Wi-Fi set up here.
There's no Wi-Fi. Of course there isn't. So that gets to my next set of questions, which is, okay, so what's your plan with the Painted Lady? What are you gonna do? Like, how far are you into the renovation? How extensive is it gonna be? Let's talk about backsplashes. I wanna know details. I want color swatches. I want the whole plan. basically.
Oh my gosh, I'm really into wallpaper. So I've been browsing all these like wallpaper sites like Grabber and Bradbury, just kind of like getting into these crazy wallpaper prints. But no, so it's really early in the process. So I started an Instagram account, Pink Painted Lady, and I feel awful because I think people expect it to happen really fast. Like all these TV shows of home remodels, it's like overnight. It's like magically
Right.
done.
Right. It's like queer. It's like
In
queer eye.
reality,
We do it in 2 seconds.
oh, I know. They make it seem like it's just like the family goes away, goes out to dinner, comes back, and it's done.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's probably going to take anywhere from 1 to 2 years to do the whole process. It needs kind of a complete remodel, needs foundational work done and structural work and earthquake retrofitting. San Francisco, you got to make it safe in an earthquake. Basically, it hadn't been updated in quite a while.
Oh my God.
It needs a lot of.
I'm looking at it, Leah, and just the Instagram account for your house has 15,000 followers. Is that a lot of pressure for you to have 15,000 people watching you renovate your house?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I am not, I don't think of myself as like an Instagram influencer or Instagram model or anything. So it's super flattering that, people are excited to follow along. I created the account because I would have wanted to see, like it's a cool house. And I think we're going to really do a really fun and interesting remodel on the interior. I want to preserve a lot of the historical elements and bring in some more historical touches, but also really update it so that I can live in it. I want to make it, I can't have a Victorian kitchen. Like,
right.
Sorry.
When you like, when was the last time one of the Painted Ladies got a major renovation like this? Do you know?
So actually, most of the other ones are in much better condition. So one of the ones next door is almost perfectly preserved and is beautiful. Just has all these Victorian details. And then another one over, they've kind of brought back in a bunch of details, gone out and found the same plaster and crasta that were in the originals, had it recreated and restored. So I would actually say the ones I've seen, they're all in much better condition. They've all been really well maintained.
And are you living in it now, or are you living somewhere else while all the
I live in DuBose Triangle right now. There's no heat in here. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no water service. So everything's been sort of turned off so that the earthquake retrofitting can happen.
Do you feel like, I just have a couple more questions, and we'll get to folks' questions because there are already a lot of them. You're living in a landmark, whether or not it's historical by the Trump administration or not. Like, when people close their eyes and they think of San Francisco, the home that you now own is one of those places. It's one of the places I think of the Painted Ladies. And how do you think that's gonna, as a San Franciscan, like me, we're both San Franciscans, how do you feel like, what do you feel like then your role and responsibility becomes in our city as someone who owns a landmark, basically?
Well, the biggest thing is keeping the front and the facade looking amazing. I want to make sure that when people come here to take photos, it looks just fun. It's a fun background. That it really represents these beautiful homes in our city. Like, I'm very proud of San Francisco and the look of the architecture here. So I love the Queen Anne Victorians, the stick Victorians, sort of all these different architectural styles. So the exterior preservation is a big deal for that part of it. And to me, it's kind of like this, it's a responsibility, but I think it's a really fun one. Like, it's a fun project.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a fun way to give back to the city.
Totally. Manny's is a political space, and I know you're a frequent visitor to Manny's, and you've come to a bunch of our events, and thank you for doing that. At the same time, the front of the Painted Ladies is probably one of the most photographed pieces of real estate in the city. Are you thinking about maybe ways in which you could utilize your front porch and the front of the Painted Ladies to promote certain causes or candidates or people?
That has been done in other homes. It is a thing they do. I have thought about it. I haven't been doing it yet. I think maybe is the answer. I think part of the responsibility is to really keep this what people expect of it, which is just a beautiful house, a reason to come visit San Francisco. Like, I actually personally love when people come be tourists here and visit the city. I think that's great for business.
Right.
really, yeah, I think of the home more as like a support of San Francisco than necessarily like a promotion of any of my personal causes.
I think I would be remiss, and I hope it's okay to ask you about this. You know, a lot of people are thinking like, how does someone get to a place in their life where they can buy a Painted Lady? So do you mind just telling people a little bit about your professional background and like,
Yeah.
how does
So
this,
I was
that was my first thought. I was like, how the hell did she get to buy a Painted Lady? What did she do? What was her job? What lotto ticket did she buy? You know what I mean? And it's like, no, you're a serious business executive, and would love to hear you just give you a second to tell folks like what your, because we know about your home, but we don't really necessarily know about your professional life and your accomplishments.
Yeah, so I grew up in Minnesota, in the Minneapolis area. I went to University of Minnesota, studied computer science, and I came out here for a job interview, actually at Google. I didn't get the job, but I fell in love with the city. And so I said, I definitely have to move here when I finish college. So I moved here, joined the tech scene, worked as a developer. I started investing in companies with the money, not a lot of money, but like started investing in people, advising, just being involved in the scene here. And as part of that, was able to own stock in tech companies, which is really interesting. I think one thing I'm really proud of was as a woman taking ownership, both in stocks, in real estate. I think it's really important for sort of financial independence and wealth building. And we don't, in a way, like, I feel like, yeah, I'm one of these tech bros, but at the same time, I'm really happy to have participated in that in San Francisco. It's part of the culture.
Okay, we have a ton of questions, Leah, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to start with the first ones, which is how long did it take you to find and negotiate the purchase? That's from...
I had a real estate agent already because I was looking for a home. His name is Hazelton, super nice. And he saw it, and I texted him, and he texted me, and we were like, oh my gosh. He was freaking out. He was like, this is so exciting. And the whole thing, I think they did 2 weeks of open houses where anybody could come in and look at it, and people did, which was really cool. I think it's fun that, anybody could have the chance to come in and see it.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said, yeah, I'm sad I missed that, but I'm going to have to come to the opening. Or to
yes. Come by anytime. I've been giving tours as well, just to friends and family. I actually, some tourists were here the other day. I was like, do you want to come in and look?
Oh my God. You're like a little magic maker.
It was fun. They were like freaking out. I was like, that's so cool. Because it's like a special piece of San Francisco.
Yeah.
So then I put in an offer. They had like a deadline, and then they said it was like a Wednesday at noon. I had to put in an offer, and then they called me back in the evening. We're like, can you go a little bit higher? And I was like, okay. And so it was like, it all kind of happened in a day.
Wow.
So it was good.
So Erin wants to know which part of the house you're most excited to remodel, and Jen wants to know what color you're planning on painting the outside of it.
Sure. So I'm most excited about the first floor. I'm really into entertaining, love having people over. So I want to make it big and grand, very Victorian, lots of cool wallpaper, lots of like cornices and plaster work, and just really beautiful. So I'm really excited about the main living, dining area. And I plan to paint it pink. I mean, it's Pink Painted Lady on Instagram. The reason I'm so interested in painting it pink is that's the color it was in the 60s and 70s. It was a bright pink. And that's when, these got the name, the Painted Ladies, because there were all these bright, wild colors. So I'm going to bring that pink back. I might tone it down a little. I'll keep it tasteful because I want it to also sort of match the other homes in the row. The idea is to have it be pink, but to go with the other ones.
There are a lot of people who are interested in the bidding process. I think that was kind of, a lot of it was reported. James wants to know, did you know who the other bidders were? How did you decide what to bid? It's strange to even ask you this, but your bid was cash offer. Do you think that affected it? I think these are coming up for people who may want to buy special houses as well, and they want to maybe learn from how you did it.
Yeah, so getting a real estate agent, I think, is the first step, and they'll help, Nick helped me with the whole process and how to figure it out. Again, I had these 2 weeks to sort of figure out how much would I be willing to pay, what was the max, what did I want to offer, did I want to start with, and Nick also advised, here's other comparable homes in the area, here's what it's listed at, but they expect it to actually go for this much. It was actually pretty challenging to figure out how much to offer and then how much I would max offer. And then of course, anything that makes the deal go smoother is always better. So I requested no contingencies. So I didn't request to like tour the home, or I had already seen the home in person. They actually did pretty well on the disclosures. So they had people come in and do all sorts of like looking at the foundation and the electrical and things like that had already been done. So that made it quicker. I had a quick closing. I was able to move the money quickly, which helps. So again, it's like anything that you can do to make the process move faster is better. But of course, that's a luxury and a privilege to be able to do that.
Totally.
For the different homes, they're just different.
So James wants to know if you had to do a structural survey, or if are there any structural issues with the property?
As far as we know, the foundation is concrete, which is what they look for here as opposed to like brick. And this is not in an earthquake liquefaction zone, which is also good. I think we will redo some of the structure, both for just to make it extra safe for earthquakes and extra safe foundation. So yeah, there will be like some foundation work done, but it's pretty solid.
Got it. Mike C. and Amy Leifer, who I think maybe is your friend, it lets us know that the Four Seasons that you mentioned are on Waller Street in the Hayden. Waller and Masonic.
Waller and Masonic, you should go see them. They're beautiful. They have these sort of like ornaments in the front of the different seasons. They're very cool.
Do you know your neighbors and were they welcoming? Is an anonymous question.
I met my neighbors part of buying the home. So I met the immediate next door neighbor the day I toured the home, came out and said hi. And then through friends of friends, they were like, oh, I know someone who lives there. Let me introduce you. So I was able to meet, I think I've met every neighbor now, or almost every neighbor. They're all super nice and welcoming. Pretty much everyone that lives here now knows what they're getting into. So they were able to help advise. Right. And a lot of them, they're so nice about the remodel. They want to help with wallpaper and designs, and they show me their homes. So I brought my architect along for a couple house tours.
Nice. Two quick ones. Margot asks about your Instagram account and kind of what overall message you're trying to send to your audience. Obviously, you want to have people follow along and kind of involve them in the process, but is there like a particular overarching message you want to send to them? And then Joel wants to know if you're planning on adding any of your own personal flair to the renovation project.
Oh, so for the Instagram account, I guess the overall thing, the kind of idea I had, and I'm open to changing it, like it was mostly I would have wanted to see what happened to these homes. You know, like you see them from the outside and they look amazing, but what are they like on the inside? What are sort of the history of the home? So I'm hoping, right now it's a little bit dull because I'm just kind of posting what it looks like now. But as the process moves along, I'd like to show sort of what we're planning on doing to it. And as we discover, we're going to take down some walls and things. It'll be fun to see what's underneath. So it's sort of a progress of the remodel. It's going to take a while. So follow along for updates, but I can't promise it's going to be very quick. And then how do I want to add my personal flair? I think in sort of the terms of, or in terms of like which colors we choose and wallpaper and all of that. None of that is necessarily preserved here. So I hope to stick true to sort of the time period, but I think there's a little bit of flexibility in sort of what those will look like. So I'm really excited about it.
Got it. Question from Tyler. I heard that it was 2 homes split. Are you going to make it 1 or keep it 2? And is your long-term plan to fix it and keep it forever, pass down to kids or friends or someone else, or sell it after you fix it up?
These are great questions and ones I don't have the answer to. So currently is 2 units. I don't know is the answer of if it will stay 2 units. We're kind of working on that now with the city and with the architect. I'm not opposed to either way. And then what was the other question?
The other question is like, do you have like a long-term plan?
Long-term vision. I plan to live here. So I am in my 30s. So I will hopefully be here for a while. And I don't know after that. I have no children yet. So we'll see. I'm hoping that it stays in hands of folks who want to keep it looking nice.
There's such personal questions, but I think, I mean, like you said, like people are so fascinated by the occupants of these homes, and very rarely do they get to actually meet them. Hillary.
Yeah, well, now you can say you know someone. You can be like,
Yeah.
oh, I know someone that lives in a Painted Lady. That was one of the fun things about buying it, is all our friends are like, oh, I know someone that lives
Yeah,
there.
totally.
All the
Hillary,
neighbors.
Hillary wants to know who you'd like to invite for tea at the Painted Lady once the renovation is done.
Oh no, that is a great question. I'd love to have the mayor come by, take a photo, and say hi.
Okay. Yeah, well, maybe we can connect you
I'd
into.
love to have you come over, Manny, as well. Come by.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to have tea in the Painted Lady. Anwin, hey Anwin, I know Anwin. Anwin wants to know if you're planning to restore the architectural details of the house back to the original state.
Yes, most of them. So the ones that we can find, we will use. We may even add more. So we are looking at adding more plaster, more wallpaper, more details that fit with that time period, because some of it's been lost over the years.
Nice. Kevis wants to know if you're in contact with the Victorian Alliance. They're really nice people and they might be able to help you.
Oh, I am. So I just actually posted a video on the Instagram that they sent me to share with you about sort of the work that they do. But yes, we are definitely in contact. I'm in contact with the Alamo Square Neighborhood Association. Everyone's just been super helpful and nice.
Nice. Kristen just wants to say something. She wants to thank you for sharing your journey on Instagram. She's the daughter of a 5th generation San Franciscan, and she's excited to follow this bit of history.
Oh, thank you.
Do you feel like you're getting a lot of love from fans and stuff?
It's been really positive. It's so nice to hear from people who live in San Francisco, love the city, or have some connection to San Francisco. They visited here at a particular time. They owned a home here in San Francisco. They currently or did own a home here. I think people really love these houses, so it's really exciting to hear from others who, love them as much as I do.
Yeah. So we just have a couple minutes left, so if you have any more questions for Leah, you can ask them. I feel like I do want to ask, when we talked about this in our pre-call, which is, there's politics around who owns homes in San Francisco now. The Last Black Man of San Francisco recently came out, which is, very critically acclaimed. We screened it 3 times at Manny's, I think. And like, how do you sit with that, as a relatively new San Franciscan, as a white person, buying an iconic home, and just with the history of San Francisco, recent and otherwise, kind of where, and I know you and I have talked about this, is something you're thinking about, and how do you think about it, and where are you with all that?
Yeah, I love that film. I actually cried. It's such a beautiful portrait of the city, and so touching. I think it really conveys how much people love these houses, and they love this city, and they love the people. So the folks the person who lived here before, I actually don't know. I thought they had passed away, but they might have just gotten old and had to leave, which is in itself pretty sad. And so it was an opportunity for me to sort of, I feel like a little bit of a custodian in the same way, in the film, he's sort of a custodian of a home. I'm excited to be sort of a custodian of these homes. And they're private houses. People live here. People live in San Francisco. They have lives. Everybody's life is really different, whether, it's a family, a couple, younger, older. It's a really alive city, and everybody's really different that lives here. And I'm getting like choked up now. I don't know how to answer this question. It's so tough. We're in interesting times here in San Francisco. Everyone's, in quarantine right now, locked down in their homes. Right. It's a beautiful city and an interesting place. And I hope, my hope for San Francisco is that the people who want to live here are able to do so. I'm helping towards that goal too in other ways, and some of charitable giving and things like that. So I'm hoping the city stays wonderful and stays accessible and maintains its wonderful character while also welcoming new people who love it as well.
Right. Well, thank you for answering that. And of course, ownership and the ownership of land and place in San Francisco now is, and it has been, of course, for a long time, but especially now, is very political. So it is. I'm glad that you're thinking about it. I'm sure you are, and you've come to a lot of our events, and of course, our events talk about these topics all the time. I'll just end on this, Leah. You have this Instagram account with 15,000 people watching your renovation. You own a home that, in a set of homes that bring so many people joy. And I think now is a time where we need that joy more than ever. So you bear an even greater responsibility, I think, in bringing levity to our city. You know, you are part of the network of people right now that is holding our city up in your own way. And it's so nice to know how seriously you're taking this responsibility and how much joy you're bringing to it. And I look forward to having tea in the pink painted lady when it's done. I'm going to hold you to that invitation. For the folks who've been listening in, we could really use your help at Manny's. Manny's is shut down. We have no events in the space, and there's a link in the chat box. It's joinit.org/o/Manny's. We're asking folks to consider becoming sponsors of Manny's. It's $36 a month, $1 a day, to allow us to continue to provide this programming. We're doing 3, 4, sometimes 5 of these civic conversations a day now for free. So please consider supporting us financially. We could really use it. And thank you so much, Leah Culver, for your time today. Please tag us at Welcome to Manny's or on any socials. And thank you to Sam, Jupiter, and Ram for putting this talk together. Leah, get some Wi-Fi in that house for the next one. Okay?
Well, thank you so much, Manny. And again, yeah, everyone come support Manny's. Watch more of these talks. They're really great. I watched 2 already this week. So looking forward to seeing more and supporting Manny's now and in the future.
Thanks. And everyone, we are continuing to do these talks over this weekend. We have 8 talks this weekend. Saturday night at 7 o'clock, we have most of the BART board. We have the BART president and the 2 people that represent BART in San Francisco. So if you have questions about BART, 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, what better place would you want to be than in a cyber conversation with the BART board with Manny's? So please tune into that. Leah, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks.